It's that time. Yes, I'm talking about it's time for the Minnesota Bound podcast, the stories behind the stories, but it's also that time. I'm talking about the Minnesota fishing opener. It is finally here. It's a holiday I look forward to almost all year long, and I hope for my partner in crime today, Ryan Johnson, you look forward to the opener too. Hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Is your boat packed?
Um, well, it is semi-packed, but it's packed with crappy gear right now. So it's got to get unpacked and repacked.
And that's a fun thing every year, right? That's part of us dressing up, getting ready.
Absolutely.
I think opener this year is going to be a much bigger deal than it even is in other years, just with all this virus stuff that has been going around. You know, people have been locked away in their homes. And for a lot of us, it's going to be one of the first chances to really just get back outdoors and spend a lot of time feeling free again. Am I crazy to think that?
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's obviously unprecedented what we're going through right now, and for us being in Minnesota, we have so much opportunity to get on the lakes, and I think you're really going to see people that maybe didn't always get out for opener really try to make it a point to get out this year because we have been kind of cooped up here.
Yeah, I suppose I should say, Ryan, you are probably my best fishing buddy. Not necessarily my favorite
Probably.
all the time, but
Oh,
you are my fishing partner, and we've spent a lot of hard time in the boats and on the water together. But I wanted to talk to you today because opener for you was kind of a big deal growing up, and it certainly was for me. You know, for the TV show, every opener we've got great stories about families and characters who celebrate the holiday. But you've got a few stories from growing up too that are kind of a big deal. We're going to talk about those. You know, for me, opener was getting up to Gull Lake. Um, you know, I was born in Canada. Our family moved down to Minnesota when I was just a little tyke, and they wanted a place in the woods. And in the 70s, Gull Lake was it. Um, to go to Brainerd and Gull Lake from Minneapolis, that was a road trip. And there was nothing on Gull Lake but a couple of resorts and a few, you know, houses, but it was the woods. So that's really where I learned to fish and where opener happened. Um, it was pretty funny because we had a very modest fishing boat, but I got so excited because when we drove north, we would always stop in Big Lake. There was a market there, and they had wooden barrels full of in the shell peanuts and saltwater taffy. So my dad would let me get, you know, a big bag of both of those, and that was like our food um, that we always celebrated for opener. So I'd sit in the boat and trash the boat with sticky wrappers and
huh.
peanut shells. And I thought Dad was always so great um, for allowing me to have those. And a couple years ago, he killed the whole thing for me. Absolutely killed it. He said, the only reason I got that stuff is the only thing that would keep you busy for a few minutes, so I didn't have to babysit you, so I could just fish. Thanks, Pops. But now that
That's
we
great.
have kids, I kind of get it, right?
Absolutely.
You have three
You,
anglers, young anglers in your boat every year, soon to be four. Congratulations.
thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
I I have two, and we always open, but we'll get to that in a bit, but let's go back in time. For you, what was opener when you were growing up? Where was it?
Yeah, so for me, we it was actually kind of a byproduct of another deal. Um, my dad had the foresight to join with friends of his a hunting club out on Marsh Lake, out by Appleton, Ortonville area, the western side of Minnesota, close to the South Dakota border. And out there, there's some real nice lakes and lakes that don't get as much pressure as a lot of city lakes. And we had this shack out there on Marsh Lake, which really uh, not the best fishing. Like there's some opportunity, but we would go out there to our little shack, and I mean a shack, no running water, outhouse. So I mean you were kind of roughing it. But as kids, I mean, it was the greatest thing in the world to us to go out there and just run around and make a fort in the woods. But what we would do is we would go to a lake out in that part of the world called Artichoke Lake, and this was kind of back before I understand artichokes gotten a little bit more popular after we started fishing it, not because of us by any means, but it was good fishing, and we would go out there and basically when I was a kid, 6, 7 years old, uh, my dad was kind of an opening weekend fisherman, and then maybe a couple times throughout the year. But so that's why opener was so important to us because we knew we were going and we were going to get to fish, and it was going to be one of the weekends that year where we spent the whole weekend fishing, and
Hmm.
that was a big deal, right? Because that was the main goal. So we would go out to Artichoke and we had a blast out there. We'd also fish the Lackaparle River area. Um, but yeah, I have such fond memories of going with my dad and his friends, which their kids now are became my friends, and in little tiny out there was a duck hunting shack that we had, so we would use the duck boats to fish essentially, and you'd have little 9 motors on a flat duck boat, and we'd troll around and pull rattle wraps and stuff like that, and catch walleyes. And I have a great story that I still remember to this day. I'm not sure what year it was, but one of the drives out there we stopped, I'm sure, to get snacks just like you guys did. And at this I want to say because we always stop at the same place right outside of New London, Pete's Surplus Store. And that's kind of become, whether we're going fishing or hunting, whatever we're heading out that way, we always stop at Pete's Surplus, and they've got everything in there, everything you could ever want, especially as a little kid. And I remember picking up the brand new Rapala rattling wrap in the Fire Tiger pattern. I'm 5 or 6 or probably 7 years old at this time, and this thing, everybody knows Fire Tiger now. It's chartreuse with the bright orange, and I mean, you can see the thing from across the football field.
Yep.
And I brought this bait out. I bought it at the gas station or at Pete Surplus there, and I brought it out for opener. And my dad's buddies and my other friends kind of looked at me and started laughing, like, this thing looks like you turned a flashlight on and threw it in the water, right? It's so bright. Well, that first weekend, I absolutely outcaught everybody, 3 or 4 to 1 on this new Rapala color that looked like a kid's toy. And I remember the next year showing up, and all of the dads, not only the kids, but all the dads had Fire Tiger tied onto their lines, and it was over from there. Mine didn't work as well after everybody else had it, but I'll still remember
And
that
Byron
people laughing about it. And then
and
that thing
Byron out
just
at Pete Surplus was figuring out why the heck all his Fire Tigers were out of stock.
yeah, exactly.
What was your
It was the
favorite
hot.
camp food?
It was the hot. It was the hot bait. That's for sure. I mean, artichoke. I don't remember water quality as a kid, but I know it had a little bit of tinge to it, so that bright
Yeah,
color
it's super
probably
cloudy lake.
probably looked fantastic under the water to these fish, and it was something they'd never seen before. So that was one of
So
my
I
fondest memories. I still bring that up and talking with my dad about it, and remember that time I bought that Fire Tiger bait.
shut
So
up. I, I oddly enough, know artichoke uh, because remember, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago when the weather was just so foul for opener and all the lakes were still frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Artichoke happened to still be happened to be open.
Huh.
So we had buddies who said, we're going to Artichoke. Uh, so that was the very first opener that Brady Sherck got to be part of.
Ah, very
And
cool.
we went out there. There's a little park on the east side of the lake, set up
Yep.
tents. Buddies had RVs. We put the boats in on Friday afternoon. Couldn't find a crappie. We tried, but we ended up there's water coming in on the west side of the lake. There's like a little waterfall
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. And we started catching carp over there. And so Brady's memories of opener were these 10-pound carp, buffalo carp. In fact, I've got a picture that hangs in my work office of Brady dressed up in a Superman outfit with a mask holding a sign that my dad's the best because he helped me catch a carp. Um, and, that, and that was artichoke. And it was funny because that night we went back to camp. Um,
Cooked
the
your carp up.
wind started to blow, and you'll probably remember that on that opener, um, anyone who could find open water got knocked off by the wind because we had like sustained winds of 40 miles an hour the next day. So on opener, we never actually got out on the water. Actually, we did. I guess we went out
Mm-hmm.
for an hour or two and trolled around, but it was just miserable. And with a 4-year-old, you know, doesn't go so well. And our tent,
You didn't have enough taffy for him.
I had a no, exactly. I had a brand new Mountain Hardware tent that just flattened in the wind, and I remember being so angry at the tent. But we slept in the Jeep that night with the double sunroof, so Brady thought I was awesome because he could see all the stars, and it was just a great, great opener. But you'll have to show me where the walleyes are. I'll have to take fire tigers over and troll them around in artichoke.
I think that's the key. We just trolled around with fire tigers and and caught our fish. But it was weird because I do remember going out there, and again, I was probably when we went out there between 5 and 8 years old, and somehow, some way, word must have gotten out about that lake because I remember one year we showed up and there was about 75 boats there parked all the way down the road on opener.
Yep.
And I was probably 9 or 10 at this time, and we were going to do our regular old deal, go out there, troll around. And for some reason that year it was just absolutely packed. So we ended up going to Lac-Qui-Parle, where I have another great memory. Of course, we stopped for food too, and gummy bears seemed to be the thing that we were coveting at that 10-year-old time. And I caught actually two walleye on gummy bears.
Oh
And
boy.
so I I still remember that too because obviously I did the trick with the fire tiger, and then I
Your
showed up,
poor dad.
started catching them on gummy bears, and that one really didn't catch on though, like the fire tiger did.
So somebody's got a tackle box with a bunch of 20-year-old melted
Gummy worms,
gum,
gummy
just
bears.
laying in the back.
Yeah.
Well, so it's been fun for us because every year, I don't know if you can hear this right now, but my phone is blowing up. And I'm suspecting it's yours too, because our opener group of buddies are all texting each other right now. I think there's some anger in that group, you know, between Hendy and Whitey and the rest of them, because
Mm-hmm.
most of us have kids now, so we don't necessarily all fish together. Instead, we now take the kids out. But
Yeah.
Mille Lacs has been our spot for several years now, and you even longer than me. What's the magic of Mille Lacs on opening day, or does it drive you bonkers?
Uh, well, it doesn't drive me
Be
bonkers because I'm
honest. Be honest.
well. It doesn't drive me bonkers because I'm excited. You know, we've gone through a long winter, obviously, in Minnesota, and I'm excited to get on the lake. And even if that means I'm sitting in a pile of walleye fishermen, um, you know that it's okay because we're out fishing again. Um, since probably the last 15 years, we've been doing Mille Lacs. My wife's family has a place up on Mille Lacs, so we've been going up there, and that bass didn't use. I'm a bass guy when I'm in Minnesota, um, and bass didn't used to be open, obviously, and now the catch and release season starts when walleye opens. It used to be not open at all,
Right.
so we'd be walleye fishing for those first 2 weeks. Um, Again, which was fine because we were out fishing, and I'd rather go walleye fishing than no fishing at all. Um, so
But
to
not
me,
by
it was still a
much.
blast. Uh, I, I like to be moving. I like to be throwing stuff. My father-in-law, I don't know how he does it, but he literally giggles every time he gets a bite on a Lindy rig, and the look on his face. I mean, he looks like a 8-year-old boy for Christmas every time a walleye pecks at his leech on a Lindy rig. And to be honest, I just don't get it. Feeding line and letting them eat it, and I don't know. I guess I just am, I just don't get it.
He's
I like
playing.
to throw baits and watch them work in the water.
Are Lindy rigs like
But
playing NHL 20 and throwing bass stuff is like playing Blades of Steel?
exactly, exactly. I just for walleye opener, Mille Lacs has always been a lot of fun. Some years it's super crowded up there. Some years not so much. Some years you're wearing your snowmobile outfit with gloves and warmer hand warmers, and some years you're in a t-shirt and shorts.
But
So
everyone's always in a good mood, right? Even if there are boats nearby, everyone's hooting and hollering.
yeah,
You all,
absolutely.
you always hooting because you're catching more fish than me.
Well, it's some guys got it, and some guys don't.
I don't have fire tiger.
No, you don't have enough fire tiger. Yeah. So it it is funny now because now as you get older and you are finding these fish and you're locating them and you're doing all this stuff, you bring the kids out in the boat, and as soon as they get hooked up, I mean everybody on the lake knows you just caught a fish. But that's all
Yep.
right. You just got to kind of laugh at it.
I'm going to text the guys right now and tell them they're just angry because you and I have all the good spots and they don't know where to go. Half of those guys without us just shore fish. That's what
Yeah,
opener
I don't
is,
know.
right? It's building traditions with your friends. Again, we've transitioned a little bit in that we both have boys who absolutely love to fish. They're old enough that they can be in the boat. Are there new traditions that you're building with the Johnson boys?
Well, they've now joined that Mille Lacs opener. And not only that, we've done with you and your kids the Friday crappie opener, essentially, even though
Yep.
crappie's been already open. The Friday crappie opener, the day before walleye opener. And in fact, the kids last couple weeks have been asking me, when is that weekend? They are getting
Ooh,
ready for it. And they are pumped. We've been out crappie fishing a couple times, and they are literally just foaming at the mouth to go fishing.
that's that's fun, right? And just to clarify for people, walleyes open on Saturday. Friday, now we make a point to get up early, go have just an awful breakfast somewhere of biscuits with gravy over 4 sloppy eggs over easy with 3 sides of sourdough bread, double buttered with large glasses of Diet Dr. Pepper. Like, it's magical, right? It's
Yeah.
so much fun. And then go crappie fish all day, which we actually do a couple of different lakes, but I'd love to go to Gulls still. Um, Walleye fishing on opener there is hard compared to what it used to be. Um, so we crappie fish on Gull Lake in a couple of secret spots and then move over to Mille Lacs and open there. And someday the kids are going to be old enough. I'm sitting here at my desk and there is a stranded rubber bracelet hanging from my desk lamp. Someday they're going to be old enough to understand what tradition Stranded has as part of opener. Care to articulate that?
Can we go down on record as just saying Stranded is the number one cover band in, I don't know, the
All of
Midwest?
yeah. Well, the rumor is they're the seventh best cover band from the town of Isle, but they are just
I don't I don't
unbelievable.
believe it.
They are always playing somewhere around Mille Lacs on opening weekend, so we always make a point to go and listen to them sing a little Guns N' Roses and Disturbed and celebrate. The boys aren't quite old enough to be able to go and stay up
Yeah, I
that
don't
late
know.
because they all want to get up at the crack of dawn and fish the next morning. But so much fun. I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to
it'll
it.
be a couple
And
more years before they see Stranded unless they make an appearance this summer at somebody's 40th birthday party.
ooh,
Little teaser.
oh gosh. Well, what? How do you catch walleyes on opener? Because you talk about your stepfather loving the tap of a Lindy rig. My dad was a little Joe spinner guy, right? So we'd just circle
Mm.
around whatever lake we were on at 6 miles an hour, trolling little Joes.
So the funny thing is now I don't have to catch walleye because
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Bass.
previous to that, I would as they were actually I actually had quite a luck, and it was actually kind of fun and interesting to see because as fishermen, part of what fishermen I think love and what draws fishermen back is fishing is such a unique sport in that it is something you can never really put your finger on of why they're doing what they're doing.
Yep,
A
it's
lot
always
of
a
times
gamble.
you think you got it figured out and you're catching them and you're doing great, and the next day you show up and boom, what happened? Um, and fishing, there's a thousand different variables that can go into what they're doing: water temperature, local weather, moon phases, bait fish, everything that goes into it, all these little minute details that probably if we were able to really figure it out, it's not that complicated. We probably overcomplicated a lot ourselves, but it still is probably pretty um specific in what's going on in their world. And so it was always be interesting to see on opening when we'd go walleye fishing, and my father-in-law, who would be giggling to himself at his Lindy rig bites. And I would go and my brother-in-law, we would go, and a lot of times we would fish swim baits for walleye. And it would be pretty interesting because there'd be times where, you know, we would catch two or three fish to his one on a swim bait, and the next day you show up and you don't get bit, and they're catching them on Lindy rigs. And so it'd always be interesting to see that. Why is that happening? I have no idea. Um, but for whatever reason, it would always be fun to see. Okay, are they going to hit the swim bait this year? Are they going to hit the Lindy rig? Are they going to hit a jig? Um, you know, I always had a lot of fun with that.
See, that's the magic of a lake like Mille Lacs because growing up on Gull, there was a way to catch walleyes, right? If you were going to go out and get 6 bites, you had to have a Lindy rig. You had to be so specific in how you fished. In some ways, that took part of the fun out of it for me,
Sure.
right? You just want to go and fish, and Mille Lacs, you can just go fish.
Yep.
You want to catch fish on opener? You can pull spinners. You want to catch fish on opener? You can drag Lindy rigs. You
Yep.
can throw a jig and a minnow. You can throw swim baits. You can throw cranks, right? It, like sometimes fishing just needs to be fun without expectation, and that's what Mille Lacs does. You might catch a 22-inch smallie. You might
Yeah.
catch an 8-pound walleye. And actually, you've got a good chance of both happening.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That fishery is probably a whole other segment, but it it's had its ups and downs. But it's pretty. Even when it's down, it's pretty amazing because something is going.
Right?
Walleyes are down, smallmouth are up, smallmouth are down, walleyes are up. Not to mention muskies, and even on the south end, largemouth. And if you can find them, I've heard of huge, unbelievably sized sunfish and crappie out there. So it's obviously for Minnesota very, very unique fishery. But you know, the thing that actually has been the funnest for me on Mille Lacs, which I've never really done and never even did as a kid. As a kid, we usually were trolling some sort of moving bait, shad rap or rattle trap, or using gummy bears. But for my kids now, what has been the fun, I think the most fun for me is bobber fishing out there at night. Right about dusk, getting out with bobbers and throwing the bobbers out and watching the kids reel in fish after fish has been uh, honestly, I one of the things I look forward to the most is taking them bobber fishing out on Mille Lacs, and we've just had an absolute blast doing it the last couple of years.
Yeah, if you've never experienced that, it's literally fish after fish. For walleye fishing, it is the pinnacle.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Even a
See
guy
them come
like me can
through.
catch a few.
Yeah, see them come, see them come through, and all of a sudden all your bobbers are up, and all of a sudden all your bobbers are gone. It's like a school of them just came through, and it just turns into mass pandemonium in the boat,
So,
which is pretty interesting because you know, being a fisherman, you want to fish, but now with the kids, I found a new side of really enjoying. You wouldn't think you'd enjoy taking fish off and resetting hooks and resetting line, but you do. You do because you've kind of been there, done that. You've caught your fish. You still want to catch more, obviously, but to see another generation do it and to know that someday they're going to be able to do it by themselves and to do it with their kids because of what you're doing right now is pretty awesome.
so you've got the twins, you've got Leo and Brooks, and their ages are.
They are 8.
Then you've got
They're 8.
Bowen,
Bobby.
a few years younger,
Yeah, Bobby's 6.
maybe the most energetic of all three.
I
Like,
would say that's
like,
fair.
how do you manage that chaos when 3 bobbers are down with those 3?
It is well, the good thing is that as much as I dislike it, Walleye or Mille Lacs has the regulations. You got to be off by 10, I think it is.
Yep.
Which the kids, we usually don't stay out so late. But if the bite's really good, obviously we'll stay out pretty close to that mark, and that helps because it doesn't get great until the sun goes down usually or at dusk. So there's a window there, and that's about all I can do is get the youngest one to focus and stay in the boat and not fall in and not smash crackers into the bottom of the carpet for an hour.
Well, it's fun to watch, and that is the excitement, right, of opener. And you're right. We're at the age now where it's the next generation, and we're going to be the old coots at some point. But it is really fun to watch, and we're creating our own memories, right?
Absolutely.
So, well,
Yeah.
I'd be amiss if I didn't mention, by the way, for everyone out there, this is the Minnesota Bound podcast, the stories behind the stories. Um, we have great partners who help us get on the air every week. You know, Ice Castle Fish Houses, our good friends at Rapala and Star Bank and Hewitt Docks, and of course, Connecticut Water. I'm sure all those folks are getting ready to get the boats packed and get on the road. Checklist for you, Ryan. I will have uh, an extra pound bag of peanuts, an extra pound bag of saltwater taffy for your boat.
Perfect.
This year, a new addition, I will have gummy bears or gummy worms. You tell me which.
I'm sure we'll have plenty.
Okay. And then I
Yeah.
will dub my stranded cassette tape, and I will have an extra tape ready for you in the boat.
I don't
It'll
think
be
my
amazing.
boat
And
plays tapes.
bring make sure you've got flip flops, shorts, winter parkas,
Yeah.
uh, two extra sets of gloves
Down.
for each
Yeah.
kid,
Long underwear.
long underwear. Our boat will have plenty of cans of orange Fanta. I mean, it's chaos, right? But it's magical, and that's what opener's supposed to be.
Yeah. It's I mean obviously in Minnesota we look forward to it every year, especially this year because of what's going on. And it's always one of the highlights of the year, that weekend, without a doubt.
Whatever happens, we'll see. Well,
Whatever
thanks,
happens.
Ryan Johnson, uh, fishing buddy
Thank
extraordinaire, and
you.
now father fishing guide. Again, I got to mention, you know, your boat dynamic will be changing over the next couple of years. Um, Rumor is there may be somebody else joining the crew.
A couple years, well, a couple years on the boat, but yeah, we are. Me and my wife are expecting our first daughter this June. So
Eh,
got three boys, got a daughter coming, and we really don't have any pink in our house, and
yet.
that's probably going to change too. I'm probably going to have to find a pink fishing pole and
Yep.
a pink bobber and figure all that stuff out. But it's uncharted territory for me and my wife, but we are extremely excited and super blessed.
It is the cycle of life, and that's how we create new traditions with fishing. Can't wait till she's in the boat with us. So I will see you on the water. In the meantime, to everyone else, be safe this year. Don't forget, wear your life vests. The water is still very cold at opener. I see far too many people zipping around. Just take a couple of seconds. Uh, Obviously, the kids have to have them on. It's the law, but it's just a smart practice that the adults, we should all be wearing them too. Have a great opener. Enjoy it, especially with everything that's been going on in the world. Get outdoors, and we'll talk to you next week on the Minnesota Bound podcast. So long.